Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Michigan's Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson. Secretary, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
You're running for governor for Michigan, and you are a contender in a very crowded field. So, to start off the conversation, why do you think you're the candidate up for the task?
Oh, I'm the daughter of special education teachers, a military spouse, and a mom of an 8-year-old kid who knows firsthand how important it is to make sure our education system is the best in the country and that overall Michigan is the best place to be a kid, raise a kid, and call home. This is my fourth statewide campaign. I've run and won statewide multiple times as the only candidate in this race who can claim that success and victory. And in addition to that, along the way, I've governed our state well, running one of our largest agencies, the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, which is a great opportunity. We've met that moment to deliver state services to every resident of the state. So every one of our 10.5 million residents has had personal experiences with my ability to lead and administer our largest state agency in a way that saves them time, saves them money, makes their life easier, and then enables them to get out of the way and enable them to thrive. And that's exactly who I'll be as governor, as well as standing up to protect the rights and freedoms of every resident of this state. And I believe that's why that track record of success and delivering results is why I'm proud to be leading in all the polls in this moment. We know voting doesn't start for another year, so we've still got a long way to go to present our case to the people of Michigan that I'm the one who can ensure government is on their side and making their lives easier and investing in economic prosperity for everyone.
Winning statewide races, especially in a state like Michigan, is quite the feat because everyone who followed the 2024 election closely knew that Michigan was one of those battleground states. President Trump did flip Michigan in 2024. We've seen the state of Michigan vote for Democrats, vote for Republicans. And nationally, as we know right now, the Democratic Party, their approval rating is underwater. So as a Democrat, especially as a Democrat who is running in a state that is a battleground state, do you think that this is an uphill fight?
Well, just a few short years ago in 2022, I won this state by 14 points, including winning several counties that no other Democrat won, because I show up in every community in the state. I have offices in every community in the state, every county in this state. And what that means is I'm able to meet people where they are, make government work well for them, and make their lives easier. So I'm going to continue to do that. And when you see who wins in Michigan statewide, it's the candidates that can best make the case that they will listen, that they will hear and see the struggles of everyday people all throughout our state, and they're going to act to make their lives better. That's precisely what I've done as Secretary of State, and that's what I'll do as governor.
When you're thinking about how you'll be governor, it's a divided time right now, as you know, and especially in a battleground state. How will you listen and hear and see voters across the aisle, work with Republicans, help Republican voters, work with independents? What does that look like?
Well, just as I've done as Secretary of State, I'll always work with anyone to get things done for the people of Michigan. And so as Secretary of State, whether it's building cross-partisan coalitions to save our residents time and money and put self-service stations in grocery stores and launch mobile offices around the state, I know we best serve the people of Michigan by working together to cut wasteful spending, eliminate red tape, and make the lives of every resident of the state, whether they live in a red or blue or purple community, easier. So that's how I've gotten things done already over these last several years, and that's how I'll lead as governor.
So I would love to dive in a little bit and talk about how President Trump's policies so far in his second term are impacting your state specifically. So let's start with tariffs because they are a signature of President Trump's second term. We have seen him threaten, start, pause, and escalate trade wars with dozens of nations around the world. So how are you seeing tariffs specifically impact Michigan?
Well, exactly as you said, the uncertainty of the tariff policy, not to mention the way that they are recklessly being applied, has been really challenging for our state and our farmers and our small business owners, our auto suppliers, and our entire economy. So I believe that tariffs can be a tool in the toolbox for increasing the number and amount of manufacturing we can do here in Michigan, around our country. But that's not what this is. This is chaotic, confusing economic policy, where in any given day, our small business owners don't know if they're going to be able to get their inventory in this fall. Our farmers don't know if they're going to be able to sell their soybeans and other inventory to buyers across the world. So that uncertainty of that economic policy and that lack of strategy behind it has created a lot of uncertainty for our economy as well in this state. which we have tried to level set through policies that will ensure farmers can know that the government in Michigan is on their side to help navigate this challenging time. But we're looking forward to being able to partner with the federal government that will have a more sensible, streamlined policy to provide certainty, as well as investing in our economic structures, our manufacturing industry in the state, while also not burning bridges with partners that are important to us, like our friends in Canada.
Michigan is a state that's synonymous with the auto industry, and United Auto Workers celebrated President Trump's auto tariffs at the time. I want to read what they said. Quote, "This is a long overdue shift away from a harmful economic framework that has devastated the working class and driven a race to the bottom across borders in the auto industry." They also said the tariffs could bring blue-collar auto jobs stateside within months. What do you make of that reaction and that response, the celebratory response from the Auto Workers Union?
Well, certainly we have a lot of industries in our state, and the UAW is one of the most important ones. And I agree with their recognition that we need to do more to build things here in Michigan and to invest in our manufacturing industry in this state. And so I consider the UAW and so many of their the auto suppliers and staff that they work with to be great friends and allies, and stand with them in investing in data-driven economic approaches to raise wages in the state and increase opportunities to grow even more while decreasing the cost of living and of so many things in our state right now. So I'm grateful for their leadership on so many fronts in making sure that their workers are healthy and safe in the workplace as well, and look forward to working with them as well as others all throughout our state to advocate for sensible economic policies that will not just ensure their workers have security and job security and safety in the workplace, but everyone in our industries throughout our state can say the same.
I also want to talk a little bit about President Trump's, what he describes as his big, beautiful bill. It's over 1,000 pages. It's his signature when it comes to his tax and immigration policies in his second term. And there have been criticisms of it, particularly in the fact that it will increase the national deficit, and also cuts to Medicaid have been a sticking point both for Republicans and Democrats alike. And according to data from last year from your state, more than 2.6 million people in Michigan are enrolled in Medicaid. And the nonpartisan CBO estimates that 7.8 million people will lose their insurance because of cuts to Medicaid because of this bill. So what is your reaction to that bill, and how specifically will this impact Michigan?
Well, healthcare affordability is top of mind of all of our residents right now, whether they live in a red part of the state or a blue part of the state or anywhere in between. And so in our state, we're actively having conversations about how to, one, advocate to keep those funds for healthcare, whether it be Medicaid or other types of necessary services in our federal budget. And we hope to win that fight. But we're also working to find ways to cut wasteful spending and make healthcare more affordable in our state, even in the uncertainty of this moment. But make no mistake about it, that the cuts to Medicaid would be devastating to millions of our residents, young people, elderly people, working moms and dads, and create even more uncertainty and turmoil in a state that full of voters who supported this president, believing that he would cut the cost of living. Making decisions like this would only raise the cost of living for so many of these residents. And it's something that I'll continually to speak out against, as our governor has done as well, and to fight to ensure we're doing everything we can to provide affordable health care for the citizens of Michigan.
And if there's any, let's say there are those cuts, let's say this bill passes, people lose their Medicaid, specifically in Michigan. I mean, what can you do? Let's say you win a governor. What can you do as governor to make sure that those people are insured and make sure that they have health care?
It's going to take a lot of people working together to build new partnerships and identify ways to cut the cost of healthcare so that it's more affordable for folks. Make no mistake that these cuts would be devastating. And in this moment, we're focused on doing everything we can to raise awareness about those devastating cuts, that the people who represent the citizens who would be most harmed by these cuts in Congress know about those devastating effects and stand up for our residents and protect their access to healthcare.
And Secretary, before I let you go, I just want to ask you two questions about recent news about your campaign. Michigan's Attorney General found that you violated the state's campaign finance law over holding a press conference announcing your campaign from the lobby of a state government building. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I'm glad that matter has been resolved, but essentially I was dropping off my candidate paperwork as a candidate, which we have to do in that building, and I was happy to answer questions from the press as I did it. So we respect her new interpretation of the law in that regard, and grateful that it's been resolved. And now I'm continuing to move on and focus on building a strong statewide campaign that will be poised to win next November.
And earlier this week, a Republican in the state, Michigan Representative Jim DeSantis, introduced articles of impeachment against you. You were accused of, quote, corrupt conduct, constitutional violations, and a repeated abuse of power. What's your reaction to the news?
I'm focused on delivering results to the people of Michigan, not engaging in political games that are designed to gain headlines and attention for folks who otherwise should be going to work every day to live, work, and thrive in our state. So I'm going to be focused on working with folks across the aisle to respect the rule of law, follow the Constitution, and protect the voices and votes of every resident of the state. And I hope lawmakers will get to work doing the same.
And Secretary, I know you said at the beginning of this conversation, there's a long road ahead. It's a year long away from the election. I mean, what specifically are you doing next in this race?
Well, I'm a marathoner, and I've run over 35 marathons throughout my running career. And so every step of the way, we're working to build a strong foundation, not just to win this campaign, but to govern well as well, also to make sure we're delivering on results, developing a plan to make our schools the top 10 in the nation, to work with business leaders, small, large, medium, and everyone in between, to build a plan so that people in Michigan can thrive. We're keeping our talent here in our state, and we're making Michigan the best place to be a kid and raise a kid and call home. So I'm traveling the state and have continued to do that throughout this campaign, talking to people, hearing about how they need affordable housing, how they need to be able to afford childcare, and how they shouldn't have to choose between paying their electricity bill and buying groceries. Those are the problems that the people of Michigan really need their government leaders to solve for them. And as governor, that's what I'll be dedicated to doing.
Secretary Jocelyn Benson, thank you so much for joining me. You're welcome back anytime.
Thanks so much for having me. Really enjoyed our conversation.